If a deal isn't struck by midnight this Saturday, the federal government will shut down. But that's not the only item on lawmakers' to-do list before the holiday recess. Last talked about is the renewal of a law known as the FISA Amendments Act. It allows for the surveillance of foreigners outside of the United States. And while there's generally bipartisan support for the law on national security grounds, some on both sides of the aisle are calling for changes. Among the concerns, American citizens will be spied upon without a warrant. Byron of the Wall Street Journal has been following this story, joins me now from Washington, D.C. So let's talk about some of the issues. What are the sticking points here?
The sticking point is there's a big group of reformers on Capitol Hill that crosses party lines that want more privacy protections for Americans who might incidentally get caught up in this spying, whether it's they're communicating with a target overseas or whether their communications just get accidentally lumped into big baskets of data that internet companies give to the NSA. A lot of these lawmakers want to require a warrant for the NSA or any other government agency to listen or look at these communications.
So this is something that a Rand Paul and a Ron Wyden can agree on from different sides of the spectrum.
That's right. There are conservative Republicans and there are liberal Democrats who are pushing for big changes to this, including a warrant requirement. And there are some other bipartisan coalitions that are pushing for more modest changes. So this is one issue on Capitol Hill where the typical party lines and the debate is a little bit scrambled.
So what happens if this doesn't get passed by January 1?
Well, that's a good question. The FISA court, it's a special court that oversees all these major surveillance programs, says they wouldn't have to shut them down immediately. But this is the key surveillance law that underpins a lot of electronic spying that the United States does, and it has to be renewed at some point next year. Otherwise, there's a great deal of uncertainty in the intelligence community, and eventually these programs would have to start to wind down.
Okay, given that everyone's talking about taxes for the first couple of days this week and then the government shutdown, how likely is it that lawmakers agree on this?
Well, we're about 15 days away from the expiration of the FISA law, and there's no clear path forward for Congress to deal with this. A lot of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are dug in against putting a renewal in a spending bill, and there's only 5 days left of congressional action before they're expected to recess for Christmas. So I don't think anyone on Capitol Hill quite knows where this is going.
All right, Byron of the Wall Street Journal, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.